What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am GemMint. Today we're going to talk about the Dawn of X. These are the X-Men, the mutant titles that take place after House of X Powers of 10, which is the mini maxi series by Jonathan Hickman. I'm going to go over each title. We're going to do overview shots of the individual issues, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them. As you can see, I have the House of X Powers of 10 short box. These were sold at my local comic shop. Probably a lot of you guys seen them at your shops as well. And this is where I keep all of the House of X, Powers of 10, Dawn of X titles. So before we jump into Dawn of X, first just a quick catch up on what House of X is. This is basically a new starting point, a new foundation for the mutants in comics. Jonathan Hickman writes this story that crosses over two miniseries, 6 issues of House of X and 6 issues of Powers of 10. These two 6-issue miniseries were released with a certain reading order. Sometimes it was House of X 1, Powers of 10 1, House of X 2, Powers of 10 2, but then sometimes it would change up. This is the oversized hardcover that collects that in the correct reading order. And basically what happens in the pages of House of X, it's what's currently happening in the mutant world. Moira McTaggart's mutant ability unlocks after she passes away in her first life. She then kind of has a Groundhog Day kind of repeating her life, but she takes a different path each time and tries to figure out how to not end in tragedy with the Sentinels and with Nimrod and all of the mutants being wiped out. She has some timelines where she tries to team up with Professor X. She has some where she tries to team up with Apocalypse. Others where she teams up with Mr. Sinister. It always leads to failure. So on her 10th and what is supposedly her last life, she unites everybody. And that's where we are today in the Marvel 616. All of the mutants are united. They all live in Krakoa, or on Krakoa, which is the mutant living island. And they have declared mutant sovereignty in this nation of Krakoa. So if House of X is where we are now, Powers of 10 is where mutants are in the future. And it goes by these Powers of 10. So year 0, year 10, year 100, year 1000, and it flashes forward to what happens to mutants in the future. A lot of gene splicing and making, creating new mutants with the powers of all these other past mutants. You even have creations like Rasputin 4 who have up to 5 mutant powers. So we haven't really got there in the current Dawn of X, but it's kind of a glimpse into what the future is going to hold in these Powers of 10 issues. Also, Powers of 10 all seem to lead up to Nimrod being the big bad that's going to be the threat to take out the mutants. So with that being said, this is an excellent read. It's a great jumping on point. You don't really need to know much more going into this. I mean, it would help to know who some of the newer mutants are, like Goldballs, who was kind of like a joke character in the last run, but becomes really important in this new House of X world. So I strongly recommend to pick this up. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the Dawn of X, which are all the different mutant titles that take place after this storyline. Alright, so real quick, here are the 6 issues for House of X. These are all just the regular covers. I don't typically pick up variants, but I did grab this one for Fee because she just really likes Gambit and Rogue. And then here are the 6 issues of Powers of 10. That was that Rasputin 4 character that I mentioned earlier. And I'm really surprised we haven't seen anything more of her yet. It seems like she played a big role in this Powers of 10, or at least was going to build up to something. So we'll see if they're still going to utilize her in the Dawn of X titles. Alright, the first Dawn of X title we're going to talk about is the flagship title, X-Men. So here's issue 1, and I have this art germ variant of Jean Grey, Marvel Girl. She looks awesome coming out of a Krakoa portal. The X-Men title, I think, is essential, right? If you're going to be picking up X-Men, obviously, like I said, this is the main one. And it really surrounds more of the Summers family. It's the Cyclops story, but it also goes into kind of what's going on with the High Council of Mutants, with Professor X, with Magneto and Apocalypse, and it shows their interactions and like boardroom meetings with the humans, and I really like it. It really shows them standing up for themselves as mutants and declaring themselves, you know, this sovereign nation. I definitely think this is a title worth picking up if you want to read X-Men. Alright, so that X-Men title was written by Jonathan Hickman. Jerry Dugan is taking on the Marauders title. This is one of the fan favorite titles out of Dawn of X. Marauders is the lead book with Kitty Pryde, who's all grown up. She's now going by Kate Pryde. And what happens to her is that every mutant can naturally pass through a Krakoa portal, and they can transfer anywhere. They have those portals set up even on the moon where Scott Summers lives and Wolverine and Jean Grey and all them. But with Kate Pryde, there's a glitch, and she's not able to walk through the Krakoa portals, and they're trying to figure out, they're not really sure why. It's ironic because the person that can phase through anything can't go through the portal. So what happens with Kate Bishop is she takes on the role as the captain of the Marauder, and acts as kind of a coast guard of sorts that helps patrol the seas, where they help transport the goods from Krakoa, because it was established in House of X Powers of 10 that in order to be this sovereign nation, they're going to give the humans things of value, which are 3 different plants that, you know, cure illnesses and other things. So Marauders is a good book, a lot of good action scenes. It highlights a lot of the Hellfire Club and them reforming that because they're the ones that are in control of the Krakoan goods. And you have other mutants that decided to roll with Kate so that she's not alone. She's got Bishop, Iceman, Emma Frost, Storm, Pyro, and that's her crew. So Marauders, it's definitely a strong title, and it's one that I would continue to read for Dawn of X. Alright, next up, we have Excalibur by Teenie Howard. Now, this is probably my least favorite run with the Dawn of X books so far. What we have going on here is that Betsy Braddock has split with Kwannon, who is the Japanese martial artist that her psyche got transported into to become Psylocke. So Psylocke has been split back apart. Betsy Braddock is now back in Otherworld, which is this other realm. And she's working with Apocalypse, Gambit, Rogue, and Jubilee with Jubilee's little son, Shogo. So the covers look great. It's kind of worth it for the Apocalypse stuff, but all the stuff with Betsy Braddock I just found uninteresting. I don't like the whole Otherworld aspect. And I'm not really digging how Gambit and Rogue are written either. I don't really see that this ties into the overall Krakoa storyline, so in my opinion, this is a run you can skip. Alright, next up we have X-Force. This is written by Benjamin Piercy. As you can see by the covers here, the X-Force book primarily deals with Domino, Wolverine, Quentin Quire or Kid Omega. You also have Forge, Colossus, Beast, and more. Now, what you have here is this group of humans that's kidnapping mutants and basically trying to figure out their powers and steal their powers. Even Domino gets held captive and they have to go ahead and break her free. It's the Black Ops Hit Squad team, and it's definitely an action-packed, fun book. So for sure you should be reading X-Force if you're reading any of these Dawn of X titles. Alright, next up we have New Mutants, which is kind of an odd title, and I say that it's odd because if you look at the covers, you can see half of them are written by Jonathan Hickman and the other half are written by Ed Brisson. So they kind of switch back and forth between 2 different stories consisting of 2 different New Mutants teams. You have the whole crew back because in this Krakoan post-Hoxpox world, you're able to resurrect every mutant ever. So you have the whole team back, all of the original New Mutant squad. You have Roberto Sunspot leading a team that's in outer space. They're getting into all kind of hijinks, and that run is pretty fun. And then you have Boom Boom and a couple of others that went back to Earth to check on all of the mutants who haven't checked in. Because in this new mutant society, they want all mutants to live on Krakoa, but not all mutants have showed up. So they went to check on some guys that you'll remember from New X-Men, like Beak and his girl, I forget her name. Anyway, they're trying to check on those mutants to see if they're okay, to see why they haven't reported to Krakoa. And these 2 storylines kind of run separately in the same title. Now, we do end up getting everybody back together towards issue 9, so as of right now, everyone's back together and we're waiting on the next New Mutants adventure. I still think it's worth picking it up. I think Hickman is planning a lot for New Mutants. He seems to be invested into the run, so it's not my favorite, but it's not the one that I like the least. Alright, next up, you have Fallen Angels, written by Brian Hill, and this is the first Dawn of X title to conclude. This is a 6-issue series, which is no longer ongoing, and like we mentioned with Excalibur, how Betsy Braddock and Kwannon are split, this is Psylocke as Kwannon doing her own thing, and she's rolling with X-23 and the young teenage Cable. This was a lot of people's least favorite Dawn of X title, and I was in the minority. I really enjoyed it. I really dug the artwork. I really liked the Psylocke character. You know, I just thought it was fun. The villain was kind of built up to be a big thing that hasn't really turned to anything yet. So it's probably a run you could skip. However, there is a new Cable ongoing, which we'll talk about, where it might help to know what happened during this run. Otherwise, like I said, it's kind of a one and done 6-issue miniseries that's no longer ongoing. Alright, next up, let's talk about some newer Dawn of X titles that are still in their infancy. Wolverine, only 2 issues out so far. Hellions and Cable only have 1 issue. Wolverine has 2 stories that were set up in the first issue. Issue 2 only expands on the first one. It does not expand on the Omega Red vampire situation. Hellions came out really strong, and I think it's going to be a cool book. It's almost like an X-Force type of title, except you have Havoc, who's kind of dealing with the outcasts, the troublemaker mutants, and he's going to be in charge of them. And we have Quan and Psylocke back in the mix. You have young Cable here. It was just one issue. It's kind of too hard to tell what's happening so far. I'm interested to keep reading it, so I wouldn't say that any of these are a hard pass type of title. Alright, so far there have been 2 one-shots. They're called Giant Size X-Men. You have Jean and Emma Frost, and you have Nightcrawler. Jean and Emma Frost, I hear some good reviews, but honestly this is basically a silent issue. Basically going in Storm's mind after they see her fall from the sky, and they're just in her psyche. Artistically, it looks great, but nothing really much going on there. And then you have a book that focuses on Nightcrawler and some deceased mutants. As you can see, you have Thunderbird in the back there. I forget who that was. But basically, they're getting some type of warning or siren or some kind of alarm got tripped at the old Xavier mansion. So Nightcrawler goes there to investigate what it was. They end up finding it, and they find a mutant trapped there who they bring back. So I'm not going to really spoil who it was, but it was more bang for your buck as far as the one-shots were concerned. Jonathan Hickman writing, I say, but writing both. Guys, I'm going to give X-Men plus Fantastic Four an honorable mention. This is a 4-issue miniseries that has 1 issue left to come out. It's written by Chip Zdarsky. This is very much influenced by Dawn of X. They have Krakoa portals. It's dealing with Franklin Richards as both Reed and Sue Richards' son, but also a mutant. Charles Xavier, Magneto, they want him to live on Krakoa where all mutants should. And obviously, the Richards family don't want that to happen. It doesn't help that Reed Richards is trying to dampen Franklin Richards' powers and his potential as well. So I'm going to give this an honorable mention. It's only a 4-issue miniseries. It's definitely worth the pickup. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on all of the Dawn of X titles. Maybe it helps give you an idea of what you can skip if you don't want to collect every single title and what's essential, you know, based on my opinion. I want to know what you guys feel are your strongest Dawn of X titles in the comments below. So give me a drop down and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing by hitting the gem on the left, and stay tuned for the next video here on the right. Stay minty fresh. Peace.